Just wait a minute and then we'll start. Well, let's get the welcomes in anyway. Welcome to my first live stream. I've been YouTubing for around about a month now. I think a little bit over a month. I started on the 11th of November was my first upload. So yeah, we've just gone a month and now I've decided to do a weekly live session. Hey, Chasm, how are you, mate? So during this live, or at the end of this live, I am going to be giving away a copy of the Self-Coach Journal. And to enter that, all you have to do is drop a comment sharing one of your goals that you want to crush in 2025. And then at the end of the live, I'll send you a link so you can get a free copy of the journal. It's a pretty damn good journal, actually. I talk about it a lot and I use it every day. I really like it, so, and I want to share it with some people. So yeah, if you want to have a copy, by all means, all you have to do is in the comments share one goal that you want to crush in 2025, and at the end you'll get a journal. I'll just copy that and paste it in the chat so that people can see it. So this live is a Q&A. Lots of people have been asking me questions and wanting to know a little bit more. So I did say I'd do a live to answer those questions because it's better to do it live than it is to do it in a video. And then later on, there can be a video too. So here we go. Let's get into the questions that some people have already asked me. Just give me a sec. I've written them all down here. I just have to. Let's start off with this one. This one just came to me the other day. It was, have you dealt with overthinking what others might think of you? That's funny. I do actually. I'm going to have a video uploaded about that in depth tomorrow. But yeah, I deal with that all the time. The way that my brain sort of works is what I'm thinking, I think other people must be thinking too, even though there's generally no evidence that that's the case. But yeah, I don't know about overthinking it, but it does play on my mind because the things that I see, I assume that everybody else sees as well. So yeah, it's difficult, but I'm trying to control it and keep that down. But watch tomorrow's video, the next one, which will be uploaded on the 16th, because I dive into that a lot. That was the first one that I wanted to get out of the way. That was one that I've been looking forward to answering. I had a whole bunch of other questions that I can't just locate. There were a lot of questions about my mining life. So if you have any questions about that, that would be great, just to refresh. If not, I have to go back through all. I should have saved them, but I didn't save them at when they come through. Bad mistake, not being prepared. But I will go through all my comments and find those, and probably next week's live, I'll answer those mining questions. But if you have any questions about my mining life, for sure, I'll answer all of them. But let's get back into the questions that we already have. So this one was, what was the biggest risk that you've ever taken professionally? I've taken a lot of risks I don't actually call them risks, but I've tried a lot of things professionally, and I tried a lot of things in the mining sector when I was a miner. I wasn't just an operator. So when I got into the mines when I was 22, I worked in the pit on different machines, but I worked in the pit for about 5 years. And at that time, I thought that I was going to stay working for the company that I worked for, which was Thiess Mining Australia. And I thought that I was going to stay there to the day that I retired. I really enjoyed the people that I worked with, the pit that I worked in, and I really did enjoy it. But after about 5 years, I didn't actually want to work in the pit no more. I wanted to work in the office. I still wanted to be in the mine, but I didn't like the shift work. I was starting to get sick of 12.5-hour shifts day and night, continuously rotating, and I was sort of over it a little bit. So I decided that I wanted to go to university. I was going to go to school and I was going to become a mine engineer. So I went to the company and I told them of what my plans were. I said, I'm going back to school and I'm going to study mine engineering. Excuse me. So I did, and the mine management was really good. They allowed me the time off without, taking my holidays or not paying me for when I wasn't there. So they'd let me leave early on the days that I had to go to university. They allowed me to come in late on my roster days when I was at school. So they were really good, and they even promised me when I graduate, that they would have a job that I could kind of like go through, be a junior engineer on site. Well, I got about 3 years. I was 3 years into a 4-year degree, and I just sort of faded away from it. That fire wasn't there anymore. And if anyone knows anything about engineering, there's a lot of math involved. And when you're working full time and trying to study full time, life gets pretty hectic. And I was missing out on a lot of life. And I was 27 when I started. So by the time I was 30, I was sort of burning out. And I also started to get into geology. So not only was I doing an engineering course, I started to do geology. So I just kept adding more and more to my plate. So I kind of think that's the biggest risk that I took, because I ended up not completing my degree. I ended up only doing 3 years, 3.5 years. I ended up doing. I was like half a year away from getting my degree and getting that job. I remember my dad was a little bit disappointed. He was so proud because he wanted to do something with his life, and he did. Don't get me wrong, he was very good at what he did, and he's had major successes in his life. But he was so proud that I was becoming an engineer and going to school and doing all these wonderful things. And I think I kind of disappointed him a little bit when I quit. So I think that's my biggest risk that I've ever taken professionally, to attempt to study full time and work a full time job. It got too much for me and ended up quitting. And I think about 2 years after that, I actually left Thiess and took a redundancy and got paid out and moved on to another mine. So yeah, kind of outlived that life. Well, that stage anyway. And I never ever thought about going back to school after that. I was done with that. I do remember going to university as someone who, late 20s, 30, nearly the whole university was full of kids like 17, 18-year-olds, and I kind of felt out of place every time I showed up there, especially like I'd come directly from work. I'd have my high vis clothes on. Yeah, so that was probably the biggest risk that I ever took as in my professional life. And now we'll move on to the next question, which is, what's one thing you wish you knew when you first began your YouTube journey? Uh, that one, I tend to think that I wish I could be myself more. Like it's it's not one thing that I wish that I knew. It's one thing that I wish that I could have done better. And now I know I'm only a month in, and I'm still testing and trying to find, my voice. I'm trying to still relax into it. But there's a lot of kind of scare tactics out there. A lot of people say that it's hard work. Well, coming from my life as a miner for nearly 20 years, I kind of know what hard work is. And creating videos, it may be time consuming, but it's not life and death, or there's no risk of serious injury. And I always go back to that. I always say, well, at any time, if I fell asleep in a truck or on a near a high wall, there's a good chance that I die. If something goes wrong, there's a good chance that I would be seriously injured. And during my career, I saw death and I saw people get seriously injured to the point where their quality of life went from, way up here to nothing. So I don't subscribe to this thing of YouTube being hard. It's not that difficult when you think of it. And that's the type of thing that I wish that's probably it. That's probably the one thing that I wish I knew when I first began was don't take it so seriously. Just take it in your stride. Just do what you do and have fun doing it. Because at the end of the day, creating content is fun. If people don't watch, they don't watch. Eventually, if you keep going, everything will work out fine, which is one of my key life hacks is I always believe, don't worry about it. Everything's going to work out fine. We'll just keep going until it works out fine. I guess that's a good thing. So we'll move on and to the next question, which is, what does a typical day in my life look like? Well, it depends on what day it is. Tomorrow, which is going to be Monday, Mondays are pretty relaxing, actually. I've already got my video ready and ready to upload. Oh, not ready to upload. It's there. It'll go live at 11:11. But my Monday, I wake up, I take my dog for a walk. What else do I do? Have a coffee. I check, make sure everything's all right. I write a couple of threads. I write in my diary, and then my wife and I, we go to the beach. And we do that every Monday. Now, the reason why we go to the beach, even though it's now winter and it's a bit chilly, is because we like to do some grounding. Now, for those who don't know what grounding is, it's just getting in touch with nature again, like getting your feet on the ground. No sandals or shoes in between us and the ground. And we like to do that at the beach. We like to go and put our feet in the water, and we kind of feel like that cleanses us and gives us a good start to the week. So that would be a typical Monday that we will go and go, I'm stumbling over my words again. But then we'll go to the supermarket, we'll buy some food, we'll come home, we'll do some cooking for the rest of the week. We try and do cooking that lasts us a couple of days so we don't have to go back out anymore. But we are very much homebodies. We don't like going out. We go out maybe now once a month to a restaurant to eat. But other than that, we really we really just like staying at home and kind of learning new things. Read a book. I've got some great books up there. I like having. I actually have a lot more books back in Australia, and we even have more books back in Romania. So we don't have a hell of a lot of books with us at the moment because books are heavy, and when you move around, the last thing you want to do is take 100 books with you just to pay for them on an aeroplane. But yeah, that would be a typical Monday. We take our dog for a walk. We cook. We go to the beach. We have coffee. It's a really nice Monday. The rest of the week, like I said, we don't worry about food too much. The sauce. Hi, I am. And it's all about creating. And to be a creator, for me anyway, it's about having conversations. Aloha. So the sauce, I'll just interrupt that for a sec. The sauce, if you want to tell us and get a free copy of the journal, just share one goal that you want to crush in 2025, and I'll be giving away a free journal at the end. So just put it in the comments if you want to tell us what goals you want to crush in 2025. So where was I? A typical day. Yeah, that's it. Like, we just talk a lot, my wife and I get monetization in 2025. Nice. That's a good goal to have. Oh shit, I forgot where I was at with that. Yeah, conversations. So I'm on Threads a lot. I like talking to people there. I like putting out content there. I also like doing my YouTube researches, and then generally that's what it is. Whatever I'm working on, I sort of go look and see what other people are thinking about that, and then I form my own ideas, and that's sort of where my videos come from. It's not that difficult, and it's quite fun for me. And yeah, that's what a typical day in my life looks like. I'll tell you a funny story. We had to go out a couple of weeks ago, and I went to get in the car, and the battery was flat because I realized that I hadn't driven it in 2 months. So yeah, going out's not huge for me. I'm very much a homebody. Moving on. Next question. What's the most challenging part of what you do as a YouTuber? The most challenging part for me is watching myself, because I start nitpicking. I'm really hard on the review. Yeah, 10 more. That's we have had a great month. A lot of people say that it's hard to get to 100. I've got nearly to 500, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy, so grateful that everybody's sort of joining up and liking my content. That's the main thing. I really like that. So yeah, that's the most challenging part for me, is actually watching myself, because I'm so critical of what I do. I'll probably watch this live back and cringe at it and think, oh, there's so many ums and ahs, and you're still not breathing, you're still not relaxed. So yeah, that's the most challenging part. I don't find, not yet anyway. Not content's not a problem for me. I've got a whole ton of content, because let's face it, my channel is about me. So I've got 40 years of content there, so I should be all right for the that's just to even catch up to today. This is an interesting question. What project or achievement are you most proud of? This is tough, because as much as I try and be positive, I never give acknowledgement to my achievements. I've always been that guy that said, I don't know what happened there. It worked out for me. But now that I'm doing this YouTube thing and I'm seeing things a little bit differently and from a completely different angle, I actually realized that I've put in a lot of work and things just haven't always clicked into place. Like, yeah, when they do click into place, they're great. And that's the moment that I remember. I just forget about all the hard work that I put into them. I think the thing that I'm most proud of looking back is the fact of when I started in my mining career, the 12 months of giving up my weekends to go and learn how to drive a truck for free. Like that's, you know, that's something to be proud of, in my opinion. When you go and chase something and you're just prepared to give everything else up. And I actually had to take a really shitty job. I worked at a recycling plant. Now, it was a new concept back in Australia in the early 2000s. And it was all garbage. So they'd bring in the whole town, like the whole district, all the garbage would come to this recycling plant. And I had to sort through it because certain things weren't allowed to go into this plant, like car batteries and long bits of wire, or even long, the plastic that they wrap around pallets when they're stacking them. Most people just cut them, and then you've got 3-4 meters of long plastic. Well, that couldn't go through because then that would get caught up in the tumbler thing and wrap around, and it'd be a whole mess. So that was one of my jobs that I had to do. I was operating a front end loader. I'd have to spread it out all over the floor, then get off the loader. It wasn't just me. There was how many of us was there? 1, 2, 3. There was 5 of us that were on that shift, and we all took it in turns. So yeah, horrible job. Stunk because you're working with rubbish. Even worse in the summertime because we actually did it in a shed. So it was hot and stinky. And that's what I did that was my 9 to 5 job. That's the only job that I've ever had in my life where I've worked 9 to 5. That were the hours that we did that for, except for on Fridays, because the shed had to be clean after Friday. Sometimes we would be there till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night just to finish that job up. And then I'd have to be up at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning and go and drive a truck for 10 hours. So that's something that I'm very proud of. I look back now and realize, and I look back on that with pride, that I did that for a whole year. I don't know if I'd be able to do that now. It'd have to be something very special for me to do that type of commitment again. But when you're 21, 22, you can commit to that. So the next question I have here is, how do you stay motivated and overcome creative blocks? Motivation isn't difficult because this is something that I've been building towards for a long time. I've just actually now committed to it. And I don't think motivation really works. I think motivation's fleeting. It doesn't last. I could be motivated to go for a run, and by the time I put my shoes on, that motivation's gone and I don't want to do it no more. That's how fast motivation can come and can leave you. So I don't rely on motivation. Once I've made a decision that this is serious, this is what I'm going to do, well, then I get into it. And as I kind of answered in the challenging part of YouTube, let me just rephrase that. I haven't come across any creative blocks because there's so much material out there. And a lot of it comes from conversations that I have with my wife. And we have so many different conversations that you can never really run out of material. There's just like something will click. And then I'll go and write a post about it. And then that post will take even more more thought process to it, and then I expand on it, and I might make a video on it. If not, I know that we're going to have another interesting conversation in the next 10 minutes type of thing. Me. So yeah, I don't really have any problems with creative blocks. I can see why people do, because they're thinking that they have to create. But for me, that's where that creative process really kicks in. It's just by having conversations, or it's by consuming other people's content, and it gets you thinking, or it gets me thinking. And then I'm like, yeah, I either agree with them or I don't agree with them, or there might be just a little part that is different from me, and I can go from there. I think that's why I like doing this YouTube thing, because my goal is just to talk and give my opinions and how I come to these opinions and what I discover about myself, what they mean to me. So yeah, that's how I stay creative. I still wish that I could just relax and talk to you guys as a normal human being, because I can feel myself again not breathing, and then I'm out of breath. I don't even know how the audio is. How's the audio on my end here? I don't know. You're doing great. Just do it. Oh, have a drink for me then. What's my favorite drink? It's quite surprising. Until I moved to Europe, I was never a cocktail drinker. Oh, that's great. Thank you. And now I like mojitos. Oh, what's the mine? We're in. Oh, yeah, they are. Mojitos are the bomb. I forgot what the other ones are called, but I like to. You are. You are. Let's get on to the next question, shall we? What skills are most important for success on YouTube? Personally, I think the most important skill is to just be yourself. You can. One of the great tools is to have great audio. I hear that a lot, and I agree with it. That if the audio is good, people can still find. But the most important skill that you can learn for YouTube really is that if you can communicate and you can get your point across and people can feel where you're coming from, you're going to do okay. This one, I don't really understand this question, but I wrote it down. Maybe someone else will understand it. Oh, inspirations. I was thinking they were saying aspirations. I'm like, who are your biggest aspirations? But it's inspirations. Who are my biggest inspirations? I don't know. You would have thought that I prepped all these questions, but I haven't. Kind of answering them live on the spot. I don't really aspire to be anybody or to. My biggest aspirations, and it's not a who, mine is just to be able to speak clearly, speak my mind, and make it understandable for everybody. I don't see myself as anything special, but that's my aspiration at the moment, or that's my inspiration at the moment, is just to get better. there's some great people out there that I look up to, and I don't want to mimic or follow in their footsteps, but I'd like to have their knowledge. And that's what I aspire to, that level of knowledge. And I think once you get to that level of knowledge, or any sort of level of knowledge, and then you can put it into your own words and people understand it, to me, that's the goal. That's what I really would like for to happen, for me to get better at that. So I'm going to leave that one there. That's all I'm going to say about that one. What are my goals for next year? I haven't actually written down my goals for next year. I probably will in January. I'll write them down, what I want to do. I know that it's a personal goal. It's not so much a professional goal, but a personal goal is for Aura, myself, and my dog Taya. She's over the back there having a sleep on the couch. Is to find our forever home. We've been talking about it and looking for the last 4 years. And one of the problems with it is that we have different ideas on what we want, but we're starting to really narrow it down now. We've got it a lot closer. We know the type of property that we want. So if we can get that next year, that would be that's my goal anyway, to have that house and land that we want next year. After that, we'll see. But so I guess there's a couple of goals. I would like to, first of all, I want to get monetized on this, just like you, The Source. That's a goal. I want people. I always feel self-conscious about saying this, that I want the 4,000 watch hours and I want the 1,000 subscribers, because that's not the reason that I'm doing it, but it's nice to do it. Yeah, to land that too. And it is a goal. It's just not something that I'm yet comfortable talking about. I'm more comfortable talking about what my personal goals are, and that is to have that house and land. We've narrowed it down. We now know we're now more on that page, the same page. And as you get to know me over the course, you'll see what type of mindset that I have and my beliefs and all that. I haven't come out too strong about any of my beliefs as of yet, but the more I relax into this, the more you'll get to know more about me and how I operate. But that's my big goal for next year. House and land. I tell you, that's changed a lot over the years. Not so much the house and land. I had a house in Australia, homesteading, great. Yeah. Not so much an animal sanctuary for me. I would like to have some animals that will sustain me. I would like a few pigs and chickens and grow our own vegetables. That's our goal. So it's more on the homestead that Aura and myself have a difference about. She likes a smaller house. Personally, I want like 3 bedrooms, even though we don't have any children, but I just always, that's always been my thing, 3 bedrooms. My old house in Australia that I owned, I had 3 bedrooms in that, and I lived alone. But it's just the thing that I like. I want to, the man cave. I don't know what I'd put in the man cave because I'm not a gamer. I don't really play pool. It'd probably be just a couch and a TV down there where I can watch my footy in peace, as I say to Aura, because she doesn't like Australian footy. She's like, no, I'm not watching that. So I'd like to just have a cave down there. When I was growing up or when I was younger, it was like have a bar and a pool table, and I'd have to say this so everybody would understand a universal thing, but gambler's room, like where I could go and place bets on the horses. That was something that I used to do a lot in Australia, was bet on the horses. But over here, there's not that much. Last time I actually went up to the local, I don't even know what they're called over here. Back in Australia, we used to call them the tab or the pub. There'd be a betting section in the pub. Over here, they're not like that. We went there and we went to play. I went and put a bet on a horse because they just had him here, and I was like, oh, let's have a bet. And steeplechase. I was like, what the hell? I don't want to bet on steeplechase, but I haven't really done that. Yeah. Manifestation. As I said, you'll get to know me a lot about and what my beliefs are around manifestation and the universe and all that, because it's something that has changed a lot of me over the last few years. Next question. Hey, quiet, please. Taya, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? Oh, where are you, girl? Come here. Let's see. She'll jump up. Hey. Neighbours just came home. Come up here. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come here. She'll come in a minute. She's more interested in what's happening outside the door. Taya, come here. Taya. Not the most obedient dog in the world. She's a good Taya, come here, baby. Come here. Come. Hey. Come here. Here she is. Here's my big girl. Oh, yes, you're my girl. Hey. Stop it. No barking. You know the rules inside. No barking. Yeah. She's only a year old. She was a year in October. Stop chewing on my arm. Beautiful little girl. So what was the question? A bit of advice that I'd give to my younger self. Don't be in a rush. When I was young, and I guess this is a lot of young people, and you don't really understand it when you're young. When you used, like, it's not the first time that I've heard it, but now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, don't be in a rush. When you hear that when you're a young person, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? You want everything, and you want it now. Like, I wanted to travel overseas. I wanted to own a house. I wanted to have the job. I wanted this. I wanted to. So many things that I wanted when I was younger, and now that I'm a bit older, I'm like, kind of missed out on a fair bit because I was in a rush to try and get everything done by a certain age. I don't know if it was because of the way that I was brought up, but there was certain things like finish school, get a job, then get a house, hopefully get married, settle down, have a house, go on a holiday, do all those things. And you kind of feel that pressure, or I did anyway. It was like, and I had a house by the time I was, when did I buy the house? I think, that was another thing. When I was doing university, I also bought a house after I started to try and build a house, but I ended up pulling out of that contract and buying a house off my dad. So, but that was the thing. Everything was in a rush. I had to have a good job. Like I said, like, I could have waited a couple of years, but no, I had to rush and go and do that within a year, and then I had to have a house. And now I'm like, just relax and enjoy the journey. I never understood that thing about things come to you when you're ready, always trying to force the pace. If I could explain that to my younger self, that, hey, don't worry about it, it's all going to work out fine. Things will come to you when they come to you, because that's when you're ready for them. That would be the thing that I would probably go back and tell my younger self. But then again, I think I'd probably, depends how young you're talking about. If you're talking about my teenager years, I would probably go back to my 10-year-old self. Yeah. And tell my younger self, because I had some talent in playing cricket, go for it. Like, practice hard, chase that dream, because I love cricket and I love playing it and I was really good at it. But by the time I turned 16, other interests had taken over my life. If ask a question, yeah, go ahead. We'll throw it out there. But yeah, that's something that I would, depending on what age of life you are. Like I said, if I was 10 again, going back and talking to my 10-year-old self, I would say, dedicate yourself. If you want this, dedicate yourself and go get it. You don't know what could happen. Oh, nice. Thank you. But then if I move on to the 20s, it's like, slow down, take it as it comes. Don't try and force it. It's going to come to you anyway. So yeah, it all depends on what stage of life that you're going back to talk to this younger person. But I do think that's one of my regrets that I have. I don't have many regrets, but I do regret that I never really followed through on my cricket journey. I might not have been good enough to play professional cricket. I know I was definitely good enough to play first grade club cricket, because I played reserve grade. I don't think there was much played reserve grade when I was 17. So I don't think that I do think that I would have definitely been enough to play first grade. And that was me without trying or dedicating myself to it. That's just me showing up hungover on a Saturday after getting home at 6 o'clock in the morning and going on having a game of cricket. I still did all right. So yeah, that would be something. I love this question. This is a question that I used to ask, that my friends and I would be sitting around drinking, and this would be a question that we ask each other. If you could have dinner with any person, living or dead, who would it be? Now, the answer to that question back in the day was, I would love to have a beer with Nikki Sixx. Because I still am, but I was massive into Motley Crue back in the day, and I just thought that the Crue boys absolutely lived life to the fullest. And what a wild ride! Like, imagine me back in when I was 20. I was a bit of a hellraiser myself. Yeah, rock and roll all day. I just loved it. But I think now, and this is on my bucket list, and I'm going to have to get onto this list sooner than later, because it's Sadhguru. I actually would love to go and sit and have a bowl of curry with Sadhguru and just soak in the wisdom that man has. I haven't talked about him on my channel yet, but one day I will. Like I said, there's more to unravel than a month's worth. But yeah, I'd love to go to India and sit there with him. If it was just for a dinner, fine. But I'd really like to go and just soak in the knowledge that man has on life. So that's one. I think I would like to also go and sit with Bob Proctor. I found that dude very, very interesting. It will be 2025, the year of the dreams coming true. Bob Proctor would be another one. I thought that he lived a very interesting life, and I actually studied under never got to meet the man, but I did his courses and spent a lot of time in the Bob Proctor Institute learning. So yeah, it would have been nice to meet him. Is there anybody else that I would? There's probably I could probably rattle off a whole list of people. Even some people's names that I've forgotten. But I'd love to sit down with some people that have gone through those near-death experiences. This is something that I actually consume a lot of content on, is the near-death experience people. They come and tell their stories. There's a whole channel dedicated to it, and I can't remember the name of it, but if I remember it, I'll definitely put it in the chat, the name of that channel. But yeah, that's so fascinating to me, those people that come back and tell the stories of what happens and how it changes their life. So, I could sit there and listen to those type of stories all day. Really, I got my little thing. Oh, there is too. I'm not looking at myself. I got the questions over how many people are in the live. So say hello. Everybody come and say hello. And if you tell me your big goal for 2025, I am giving away a journal. So all you have to do is write down in the comments of what your 2025 goal is, your big goal for 2025. So don't be shy. But I do appreciate you coming. Thank you. I didn't think anybody would come. First live, honestly didn't think anybody would show up. I thought I'd be just sitting there talking to myself. Alrighty. What's something most people don't know about me? Well, I've kind of just been answering that in the last question about the people that I would like to have dinner with, dead or alive. And a lot of people, when they look at me, used to always think that I was a biker because, I've got a lot of tattoos on me. A lot of people you can only see my arms, which are both tattooed up, but I've got tattoos on my legs and on my back. Like when I was younger, I was a bit of a tattoo freak, but everybody used to assume, because I'm a big guy, I've got long hair, beard, lots of tattoos, everyone assumed that I was a biker. But I'm not a biker. I'm not even a very violent person. Mr. Bun, yeah. But what I really am, and what I'm really growing into and allowing people to see more of, is my beliefs. And I think a lot of people will be quite surprised that I am a spiritual person, that I am very interested in that type of thing. I'm also interested in aliens. I love history. One of my favorite shows is Ancient Aliens. I don't follow the mainstreams type of thing. I like the ones where there's questions asked. Yeah. All those things, they do fascinate me. A lot of people, I think, would be surprised when they hear what my beliefs are. Not so much what my beliefs are, because they're not wacky or anything. I don't think that I'm that far out there. But when people look at me, I don't think that they would think that this is the type of stuff that this guy's into. Next question. Who has been the most influential person in my life? True. Yeah. True origins of our species in life. Yep. I believe that we have come from another planet, or another species definitely come down and did something with our DNA to make us who we are. The Anunnaki, and yeah, I love all that type of stuff. The most influential person in my life has definitely been my dad. He's he overcame so much, and he became so much. So he left school when he was 14, and he got a job, and he's worked his whole life. But he rose to the ranks of a union in Australia to being a central councillor, which is pretty well much one of the top guys. There was only 12 of them at one time, and he's held that position for 12 years, and he had to be voted in every 4 years to do that job. So he did that. He traveled the world. He's actually been to more places in the world than I have, and I don't live in Australia. I live in, yeah. So there's mad props to him. He came from what we call in Australia housing commission houses, which is like the government gives people where to live. You never own it. They just let you stay there cheap, or I think back in those days, they actually just let you stay there for free. Like his father he worked for the water board, the local water board, and a masonry place. So they never actually had anything. He really grew up with nothing. And I don't like talking about him in this way, but he went from nothing to a multimillionaire. And that's why I don't like talking about it. Not because when I say that, people then start thinking of me as like, oh, well, you don't have anything to worry about. Like your family's rich. But my dad wasn't rich. He didn't grow up rich. He worked very hard, and he became very smart. I remember because he did drop off or drop out of school at such a young age, to go from that to the level and the heights of the union movement that he did was impressive. But he wrote programs, training manuals for operation of mining equipment. They offered him a job in Indonesia when we were kids. Like, he was really, really good. He invested smartly. For a guy who, I say that I can't read well and that I can't write well, he would tell stories of like how mum used to help him pick out job applications. Yeah. And because he couldn't read them, so she would read them to him. To go from that kind of level to then writing training manuals. Why do I keep saying menus? Manuals is amazing. And he self-taught himself. Like, he can actually do more on a computer than I can do. I used to go out to his place when I lived in Australia, and he'd be there, and he'd be like, I'm like, what are you doing, Dad? He's like, just trying to work this out. And he had so much patience. He didn't have patience when I was a kid. I copped many a flogging, and he was quite an aggressive man. But I admire him so much for everything that he's achieved in his life. And now he's 72, and he's done it all. So what do you want to do now, Dad? And he's like, there's nothing really left to do. I've traveled the world. I've got more money that I can spend. And his favorite pastime now is sitting on his back veranda, looking at his property, having a beer and just taking life easy. Yeah. So yeah, I do admire him a lot. Also, yeah, there will be a video probably coming up about that. But yeah, that's yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've received from a loved one? I don't know if it's a piece of advice, but I kind of, for the first half of my adult life, like going into the mining industry, it was because of Dad. It was not like, that's the highest paying job, non-skilled. It becomes skilled, but the kind of like you didn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or go to university to become a coal miner. You just had to be good type of thing. And they paid a lot of money. But I think the best bit of advice that I ever got, yeah, that's interesting. We have to stop before we get to 666 though. Excuse me. It was when I told Dad that I was quitting my job and selling the house and I'm moving to Europe. And I was 40 at the time when I was doing this, so I wasn't a kid. But I was like, I was scared to tell him. I was like, what's he going to say? He's going to say, you idiot, like you're throwing your life away. You've set up a career, you've got a house, you've got the car, you've got everything just about. I didn't have a woman, but I had just about everything. So I kind of thought that he's going to tell me, you're just throwing it all away. But he actually said, finally, good for you. You're doing something that you want to do. And that just blew my mind away. So it's not so much advice, but that's probably the most touching thing which turned into advice. Go live your life for yourself. Stop trying to please me. I'm going to be happy no matter what. As long as you're happy, I'm happy, is what he said to me. And he says it to me. I try and ring him once a week. And he says it to me every phone call. If you're happy, I'm happy. Thanks, Dad. So yeah, if you can't tell that I admire my dad a lot. I don't know what else to tell you. All right, moving on. What's a dream you're too scared to admit out aloud? I think it has to do with money. I have some figures in my head because eventually the lifestyle that I want to live with just the three of us is that on the farm. And I don't want to worry about money, don't want to have to worry about bills, don't have to worry about anything. And I kind of don't like saying that. Yeah, stay for normal. And because I think that's judging. Oh, I think that I'd be judged. I don't know why, but it's just something that I don't like to talk about out loud. And that's to live my dream life. I don't like to talk about that out loud. Not yet, anyway. We'll see what happens. We're starting to come out of our shell a little bit, so stay tuned. Might even talk about that even more and go into a lot more detail. This next question was just answered in that one. If money wasn't an issue, what would you do? Live on our property, do whatever the hell we wanted to do, go for walks, play, get in the garden, have some animals. Go out for a coffee, go out maybe sometimes to a restaurant, but yeah, very, very simple life. I don't want that fast paced. Don't even particularly really want to be around too many people. There's not many things left in the world that I want to go and visit. Maybe some South American stuff. Maybe go and have a look at the pyramids like the old Inca, but then I'm too scared to go to Mexico because all I hear are drug cartels and bad things happening in South America, people dying and getting unalive down there. So I don't know, but I've kind of seen everything that I want to see in this world. I've travelled pretty well. What does true success truly mean to me? What does success truly mean to me? Well, it's that freedom of choice. That's what I believe anyway. When you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, and not have to worry about paying the bills and any of those type of things, I think that's success. Again, if you had have asked me, yeah, I will. All right, man, have a good one. I'll probably send you a letter or a question to get your email address because it looks like you're going to be getting the free copy. And I'm nearly done with the questions too. So we'll get these out and yeah, I'll send you a message. So that's what success truly means to me. It really does mean being happy and just living your life the way you want to live it. I like this question. This next one that's coming up. What's something you've always wanted to try but haven't yet? Skydiving. I have a massive fear of heights. And that goes back to the time. So I'll go back to when I was 20. I got a job at Sydney International Airport and I show up for my first day of work and they send me off site. I never got onto the airport my first day. They said, we need you to go and do this job. And it was at the old casino site in Sydney. And they had an exhibition down there of a Russian spaceship or whatever they're called, space shuttle. That's it. And it needed cleaning, and the company that I was working for got the contract to clean this space shuttle. And me being the new guy, middle of winter, freezing cold, and they said, off you go. This is where you got to go. This is where you're going to be working for the next few nights. I'm like, yep, sweet. So I get there and they give me a scrubbing brush, a mop, and a bucket. Get to cleaning. So okay, we're going to scrub this shuttle down, and I'm standing on the wing, scrubbing away all these tiles type of things. Like this thing had been sitting out in the desert, so it was filthy. And they said, clean it up. Well, long story short, I actually fell off the wing, and I mean I was about this far away from missing a step with the back of my head. Would have been game over for me. I'll tell a story about that another time in another video or another live about my guardian angel. But my guardian angel saved me there. But ever since then, I've always had a fear of falling. So one of the things that I want to do is go skydiving, but I am got to overcome this fear of falling. And at the moment, it's not high on my list to overcome. But that's something that I've always wanted to try, but haven't. Moving on. How do you define happiness? Happiness comes within. I can be happy sitting on the couch playing with my dog, going for a walk with my wife, sitting down having a conversation. That's happiness to me, just being content in life. And that's a bit of a double-edged sword because when you're still going after the things that you want, you can't be content because you've got a goal and you've got to do things that you are pursuing. But you can still be happy while you're doing them. But real happiness, it comes from within. And that's something that I'm really focusing on a lot more now, is true happiness. What gives your life meaning? I don't know how to answer that question just yet. I'm still trying to work out what gives my life meaning. I've gone through several stages of life at the moment. I'm only 45, but I have gone through a couple of stages, and each stage, meaning of life has meant something different to me. At the moment, the life meaning is getting to that goal, getting that house and land and living that life that I want to live. And yeah, so I think the meaning of life and the definition of happiness are pretty all much the same thing. Because the meaning of life is to be happy. So kind of like that Will Smith. Jesus, how fat's my tone at the moment? Kind of like that Will Smith movie, that Pursuit of Happiness. That's, to me, that's what gives life meaning, the pursuit of happiness. What makes me laugh uncontrollably? I'm terrible. I really am a horrible person in this respect. People falling over. If they can happen in a funny way, oh my God, do I get a good old belly laugh going up. Sometimes my wife can get me going too by telling me not to laugh. That just makes me laugh even harder. But yeah, if people fall over, and always a bit like concerned if they hurt themselves, but I can't help it. I can't not laugh. It's horrible, but it's true. Oh, when did you feel like you truly became an adult? Personally, I don't think that I've become an adult. I look in the mirror and I see an adult, but I don't feel like I'm an adult. I always ask, sort of play around with that question. It's like, there was a time, I got long hair again, and I had long hair pretty much all my life. But I remember coming up to when I was 29 and I was coming up to my 30th birthday. And I said, well, when I turn 30, I'm going to get a haircut and I'm going to look respectable because I'm an adult. I've grown up. I should be a grown up. I should look grown up. And that lasted pretty all much. I cut my hair off and hated it and grew it back long. So, yeah, I don't feel like an adult. I feel like I have adult problems, but I don't feel like an adult. What experience fundamentally changed my perspective? Meeting my wife. Yeah, that's the short answer to that. The conversations when we first met were out of this world. They were outstanding conversations, and somehow, some way, she ended up getting a lot of truth out of me that I didn't even like to admit to myself. And that set me on this course that I'm now fully in. So I changed my beliefs, not changed my beliefs, but I felt free to express my beliefs. I always held back and kind of went with the crowd. I played footy and I was a sports guy growing up. And I always thought that I and a coal miner, I worked tough jobs, played tough sports, hung out with tough boys, went to the pub, drank 25 schooners and stumbled my way home. And I kind of thought that I needed to keep that up, like any sort of spiritual. Thank you. Oh, Death River, how are you? Sorry, I'm just reading your comment. Thank you very much. If you want to Contribute Death Ripper. Am I even saying that? Death Tripper, not Ripper. If you want to write down in the comments of what your big goal for 2025 is, at the end of this live, I am giving away a copy of the Self Coach Journal. So all you have to do is write down what your big goal for 2025 is, and at the end, you could get a free copy. So where was we? Yeah, so that was the fundamental thing, like actually finding someone that I could just be myself around, and that freedom to speak without judgment and have a conversation, and things that I knew all along in my life that I'd never wanted to express because I thought my mates would judge me or everybody would look at me a bit weird. Like, that was the type of circles that I ran around. So yeah, me and my wife, that was what fundamentally changed my perspective and my whole life. Oh, that was the last question, because the next one was the overthinking one. So, wow. Has anyone got any other questions they would like me to answer before we go? Because I've gone through all the questions that people have asked me. I think we've answered them pretty good. Let me knock this down and see what's really happening under here. Oh, we got 7 likes. Thank you. So tomorrow I have a new video coming out, and it's all about confidence. I recently retired due to an unexpected injury. Isn't that beautiful? How did you handle being retired unexpectedly? Because that, to me, I hear a lot of people, like, I was only watching someone or talking to someone earlier today about this, and they had a career, and they said that it was just about to take off, and yeah, unfortunately, again, with an unexpected injury, it was kind of cut them off, and they had to find something else. Is it tough to deal with when it kind of gets taken away from you before you're ready to give it up? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I could imagine that would be rather tough. Currently, Cyprus. Welcome, Jasper. Good seeing you. I'm seeing a lot of people that I see regular comments on my videos from, so your names are all rather familiar. Yeah, so currently Cyprus. We've been here for 2 years. Before that, we lived in Romania. Sally, thank you. Yeah, before that, we lived in Romania for a couple of years, and before that, we lived during the pandemic. We spent a fair bit of time in Portugal. Wasn't quite intended that way, but airlines kept cancelling our flights out of there. So we ended up, what was supposed to be just a couple of months holiday in Portugal turned into nearly 6 months. How is it here in Cyprus? Pretty good. I live, I guess, what I would call down the bottom. So not up near the Turkish border or anything. way down the other end. It's very nice, very hot, good weather all year round, plenty of sun. Really, really do. Yeah, we liked it. We came here 3 Christmases ago just for a holiday. We just came here to spend Christmas, and we liked it so much that we went back to Romania and packed our gear up and moved back a month later permanently, and we've stayed here ever since. Oh, yeah, no workman's compensation. Nothing wrong with education. Congratulations to you and your lovely fiance. I guess good things are coming. Oh, I owed all the money I received. What are you studying back in college now? Oh, nice. That's the future. I do believe. Like, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. That would be cool. Yeah, good things do happen every day, and unfortunately for so many of us, we're blind to it. I'm kind of, I'm really happy these days that I've woken up. It's taken a long time, but when you say that, you're like, it's taken a long time to wake up, but it really hasn't. I'm not even halfway into my life yet. Holla, Ricardo. So don't forget, guys, to write down your big goal for 2025 to get a copy of the Self Coach Journal, which we'll be giving away at the end of this live. And also, if you've got any questions, don't throw them out at me. That's what I'm here for. This is why I'm doing my live. Ricardo, holla. Spain. Actually, I haven't been to Spain yet. That's another thing on my list. But I also want to do. Oh, you did. Thank you. Actually, one of the things that I want to do in Spain is do the El Camino walk. We keep planning it and keep saying that we're going to do it. We actually haven't. You do? Yeah. They're good people, I guess. We've been talking about the El Camino walk now for 4 years, and things just keep getting in the way, and we haven't done it yet. I even a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago actually, or 3 years ago now, I was like heavily training to get my fitness up to walk the El Camino. I was really getting into it. Yeah, it's on our list. It's definitely on our bucket list, and we're going to do it within. We actually got to put we really have to put a date on it and a time on it and say this is when we're going to do it. We were close. We knew that we wanted to do it before summer. We wanted to sort of. My birthday is May 31st, so we kind of wanted to end it on May 31st, like get to the end. So we kind of planned it out. We thought it would take us about 6 weeks to complete. Oh, nice. Yeah. I actually watched some of your gaming things. I'm not much of a gamer. I do like watching other people play games because I'm absolutely no good at gaming. Excuse me. But I do watch other people, and I like the skills that they have. So yeah, I can watch gaming channels. It's just when I do, my wife's like, "What are you watching? What? How is that doing anything for you?" That's I'm like, "Yeah, but they're so much fun." And a Gen X channel in Gen. Yeah, Gen X has taken over this all social media. You go to TikTok, they're taking over that. Us people over the age of 40 are taking over YouTube, it seems like. Yeah, we're really coming into our own, which is great. So let me know what you get up to there and when you launch that. Yeah, I saw that. War of Witchcraft, and I always get it confused. It's not Medal of Honor, it was. I forgot what the other game was, because that was the only game that I actually could play was Medal of Honor. Call of Duty, that was it. I knew it was very similar. Call of Duty. I tried it, but I'm just no good at it. So yeah, I really respect you guys that can play those games and do them so well, because I was never dedicated enough to put the time in to work it all out. Oh, nice. I'll give you something to do then. I remember, like I said, I like the Medal of Honor game that came out, and that probably came out, I don't know, 20 something years ago. And then the original one, and then they brought out the Pacific version, and I was like, I'm gonna play that. And it was even I couldn't get past the first level. Oh, you started a channel for your business last year, a Thai restaurant, but left it after posting a few. You're just playing around with it. You gonna get it going again, Ricardo, or? Me being a massive foodie, I love food channels. I definitely watch it. Oh, okay. Yep. Strictly PC mouse. Oh, okay. I get it, Ricardo. So, what type of content are you bringing up? That's fine. I like, yeah. I'd try and do the simplest things with editing. A little bit of just cut and. Oh. So you're a Spaniard, but you have a Thai restaurant. Hey, Bobby. I remember back to you, Tripper. The old Strictly keyboard. I was only telling my wife there when we were all kids, when we first got a computer, I used to play this like rip-off game of Pac-Man. It was called Digger, and yeah, you'd be like this. Oh, nice. I love Thai food, by the way. First goal for 2025. Well, to finish this challenge, that's right up there. That'll this 101 day challenge that I started, that'll end. I think it's sometime in February. So that's my first goal, is to really push myself. I've got some big plans coming up in the new year. I was actually thinking about launching it next week, but with Christmas and New Year's coming up, I was like, maybe launch it after New Year's. So that's one of the big goals. I'll tell you now, it's to upload a video every day and really push that button, get better at this. And so the first step now is to do these lives. I'm going to continue to do these every Sunday nighttime for me anyway. And yeah, then progress to pushing out more, seeing what I can actually achieve. Some people will say that's a dumb idea, and I've heard other people say different things about it. But I need to push the boundaries. I really want to see how much I have in me. I don't want to break, but I really want to see what my full potential is. And I think that I've got a high ceiling. 6 years in Thailand. Yeah. We actually thought about before we moved here to Cyprus, and we've often looked at Thailand as somewhere to go and live. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. But Thailand's beautiful. I've been there before. Gone there on holidays. Being Australian, it was, in our backyard, so to speak. Thailand's great. Oh dear. I actually saw a picture of you. I didn't see the tattoos, but I did notice that you had some hair. Yeah. I don't know if you were here when I was telling the story of like when I was 30, I decided to cut my hair off because I thought that I should be a grown up. Soon grew it back. This is about as long as my hair grows. I don't know if it's because it's curly or what, but this is about as long as that grows. I only cut my hair once a year. Around about every February, the wife comes at me with the scissors and says, "I'm going to cut all your dead ends off." And then this is about as long as it grows again. Fine by me. No, I don't freestyle. The video that's coming up tomorrow is my first freestyle video. I want to get into it, but if you watch tomorrow's video when it comes out, you'll see why I haven't been able to freestyle yet. It's there's too much going on up here, and I forget what I'm talking about. So if I was just to freestyle it, I don't know what I would end up saying. So I kind of half script, half freestyle. I have tried many things out during this first month. So I started out full script. And don't get me wrong, they are all my words. Everything that I ever speak are my words. They're not generated in any way. And then I started to bullet point. I tried that. That didn't go well. And now what I try and do is break it down into sections. So this section is, let's say, the middle and the end. So, and I've taken that upon my writing as well. So I know there's a lot of people on here that also follow me on Threads and try and follow the same structure as I do with my writing now. So each paragraph or each section has a purpose, that I have something that I need. I don't like even saying that, but there's a journey that I want to take it on. So I do try and structure it like a writer would, even though I'm not a writer. So yeah, many trial and errors just to see what works for me, what doesn't work. And at the moment, we'll see which one comes up. But I don't think that I'll go back to fully scripting, because it can bring out the emotion, but for me, it's kind of a little more forced, and I don't feel as genuine, even though they're my words that I'm speaking and they do bring up some sort of emotion. To me, it feels more fake because it's scripted. Not that I feel like an actor. It's very weird with these type of things that I have going through my head. But I also don't trust myself enough yet to just let me loose. It's coming. It's coming because there are some shifts, and I am getting more comfortable talking to the camera. What was your ebook on? Never been a grown-up. It's overrated being a grown-up anyway. Apparently, I don't know. I'm not a grown-up either. Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. This is probably my favorite video coming up because I felt a massive shift, and I kind of talk about it a lot, but I've felt a big shift in me just recently, and I felt much looser and a lot more free in this video that's coming up. A bit like now I feel a lot more comfortable than when I started this live. I'm just having a chat to you guys, so it's good. My dog's just run out of water. Have any of you got dogs? Like, is it normal for a dog to drink 30 litres of water a day? My dog drinks so much water. Now she's out of it. She's trying to lick the bottom up. I might actually have to end this shortly so I can go and give the girl some water. She's struggling. But there's nothing wrong with starting over. It's not really even starting over because you come with so much more experience. You're just changing direction. I'm a big person on language, and I try to really pay attention to the words that I say, and I pay attention to what other people say and how they word them. So not picking on anybody or anything, but yeah, it's not starting over. You're just changing direction, doing something new. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, haven't we all? We never really see it that way. You're like, there's been many changes in life. Nice. Empowerment through encouragement, the power of positive words. Where can you get that at? You got it on Amazon or your website or something? Oh, really? How would anybody go about getting it? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do an exchange. You can have a copy of my self-coach journal, and when you get that, you can send me one back the other way. Deal? Deal. Lovely. I'm happy with that. All right, guys. Any last questions? Because I'm going to wrap it up shortly. Sweet. I do appreciate everybody coming and spending time with me on this live tonight. It's more than, yeah, definitely. This is a every Sunday thing, except if Christmas falls on Sunday, which I don't think it does, but every Sunday night at the same time we'll do it. I'm going to keep it at the same time. Every Sunday I'm going to come live for the foreseeable future. Who knows, may even do more, but for now, for the next few weeks anyway, Sundays are our day. We'll do that. And thank you, everybody that came. It's blown my mind. Like I said, I didn't think that anybody would show up. I thought I'd just be here answering the questions, and very nice to meet you too, Ricardo. So yeah, any other questions? Put them in the chat. We'll do them next week. I'll think about something else to talk about for next week. Yeah, you're right, bub. The girl wants to go out, so I'll call it a night. And again, thank you, and see you next week.